the Riot.
How was that big swish of water?
Well, I was swishing it because what you guys don't know is that Eric and Nikki have provided for me because they didn't like their Asiago and cheddar cheese crisps.
We figured out we found this bag from Costco, so that tells you it's a big bag.
Oh, it's big.
And they're not terrible, but I don't like Asiago as much as you
Asiago.
do, and Eric did not like it at all. So we thought you might enjoy these sourdough, cheesy
delicious.
Crisps, Asiago
Asiago
thing.
and cheddar cheese crisps, crunchy aged cheese, and sourdough squares. Mm-hmm. I think they're great. I keep them over here in the Riot food pantry. Which has a lot of food in it.
We have a lot of food on the desk.
Yeah. So,
if you enjoy food talk, this podcast will feature a lot, but more like if you're into exotic food talk.
This is a really long podcast.
Well, we had a lot to talk about.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So, yeah, it's busy. A lot of it does revolve around food. Food gets mistaken for meth. Arby's bringing back venison. Really weird stuff that you've eaten, including the most objectionable eating item in the history of mankind. Now, look, if you want to get into this, you can do that on our Facebook page.
Yep.
You'll find discussions for that. Also, in this podcast, we talk about the laziest way to play Nintendo. And that you'll find on the Riot's Facebook page.
If you go to Radio U Riot, make sure you follow us there. You can see some of our past videos, and we talk about the Switch in the past. We do Obadiah Plays with Mario Galaxy, or not Mario Galaxy, but Mario Kart. So there's lots of fun things that you can enjoy.
Yeah, I got to figure out, I got a couple Obadiah Plays in the hopper. Mm-hmm. I got to get some kind of an extension cable so I can actually do video of the VR
hopper
stuff. That was the thing. And then I'm still not sure if we're going to do something with Shadow of War or not. Maybe. It's just so gross that I'm afraid people are like, why do you do that gross thing?
Something gross every so often is not too bad.
Well, the thing is, Nikki, orcs bleed black.
Can't help
they just
that.
do. What are you going to do about it?
Make sure you follow us again at Radio U Riot on Facebook or even YouTube as well, and enjoy all this food talk.
It is the Riot.
Baby's crying. Nails on a chalkboard. Your girlfriend saying, we need to talk. The worst of the Riot. Yep, it really is that bad. On Radio U.
Have you ever gotten a love note? Little note that just says, I love you.
Or remember when you're in school, asking if maybe you could love them.
Could you check yes
the
or no?
yes or no one. So maybe along those lines.
Could you send it back?
And fold it.
Maybe, okay, what about, did your mom put a note in your lunch?
Oh, yeah.
If she packed your lunch and it was just like, hey, I love you. I give a rip about, she didn't say that. She's like, you're so cute. Your daddy and I think you're the best. A little love note, right?
Sure.
Now, you get that note and they're not there. You can't see them, but you got that note and you're like, I know they love me right here. Everybody, of course, depending on how old you were hiding that note. My dad used to have these wherever he worked, he could make these stainless steel cards that he could put notes on the cards, and he would put those in my lunch when he would pack my lunch. Pretty great, right? Here's something I want you to know. Today, Radio U is your love note. God loves you. He left you a note. Here it is. This is your note. You're like, well, I don't see him. Well, this is a note. People don't leave notes because you see them. They leave you a little note. Well, here's the thing. God loves you. He cares about you today. So I don't know what you've got going on today, but I want you to know one thing for sure. You've got a love note. And if you've ever gotten a really good note, sometimes you put it in your pocket.
You keep it.
You take it with you when you go places. And sometimes when life starts to beat up on you a little bit, you just slide your hand in your pocket and you're like, remember all those great words that were in that love note? Yeah, I'm loved. That's right. Well, I got news for you. You're loved today. The only thing that's different between the love note that you got from whoever in your whatever is that not only can you take Radio U with you, but you can take God with you everywhere you go. He's with you. He loves you. He cares about you. This is his little note reminding you, but hey, take him with you too. If you don't have a relationship with God, it's easy to start one. It's as easy as just saying, Jesus, I want you in my life. I want you to fill me with your spirit. Show me a different way to do things. Help me to understand your love. And hey, if you keep forgetting that that's true, remember, you got your little note here. Take us with you. You matter. God loves you.
Sure, the Riot could start eating healthy, or they could continue living happy, enjoyable lives. The Riot on Radio U.
All right, guys. Who wants deer? You're like, I want a deer. No, deer meat. Venison.
Aww.
The sandwich. Who's looking for it?
All right, you can raise your hands. There won't be any judgment. Some people really like deer meat.
Look at all these hands, Nikki. Do you see them going up all over the auditorium?
I can envision them, yes.
All over the world. Well, Arby's knows it's true. And guess what's happening? They say that dude, venison was such a big hit.
They had, how many Arby's locations? Was it
17?
17 locations that last year featured deer meat in the menu for like a special.
It was one day only.
One day only, and it didn't even last like hardly any time because they were so inundated with people who wanted to eat this deer sandwich stuff.
It was like the McDonald's Szechuan sauce. At like 4 a.m., there were lines.
Mm-hmm.
People just getting in line waiting to eat an Arby's venison sandwich.
So they're going to do it again?
Oh, they're doing it again with one simple change. The venison sandwich will be available for one day, but at all 3,300 Arby's.
Oh, that was a big deer kill. That's a big one.
Let me tell you what that means.
Boy. That was the big one.
They've been working all year to get
to get enough meat for that.
Some of that stuff's been in the freezer for a long time.
Oh, boy.
So it also says that in Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana, they'll be doing elk.
Is that like that area's deer?
Well, actually, yeah.
Or will they have deer as well?
Depending on what region of the country you're in, elk is a bigger deal, and they're bigger animals. Like I started seeing signs.
Bigger sandwich.
I was driving through Idaho, and there were these like elk crossing signs. You know, like
elk.
That's what I thought. I was like, "What do you mean elk?
Is it just gonna walk around?
Are you for real right now?"
So that's what you could have in the sandwich.
Oh yeah, elk sandwich.
Weird.
I'd eat it. I mean, on Friday I had a bison.
True.
Oh, it made me so sick.
It did?
Oh, my gosh.
Was that the first time trying bison for a while? Or
I think I'd had it before or whatever. It didn't make me like, hold this, I'll be back. It wasn't like that. But I'll have to say, I went home and I was like, my tummy hurts.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I have to lay down. There's a stampede. Like, it's hurting in there.
And bison is a heavier deal.
I'll tell you this. I'm not back on bison.
Sure.
I'm out. But, it was delicious.
You never know about venison or elk.
Well, I
Give
feel
that a
like
try.
I'm finally being given the chance to find out.
Did anybody try last year the deer sandwich? Like, is it just deer meat in an Arby's bun, or what is the sandwich? Is it like their meat mountain?
I've got a picture for you if you want to see it. It looks like, let's see if I can find your name. Oh, there's Nikki's smiling face.
Yay.
Send it to her.
Message me.
It looks like a steak. It's not like their shaved roast beef. Like it is.
A steak on a bun with onion rings?
Yeah.
I like those. I'll eat that and the bun. I'll take all the carbs.
Nikki's in.
Carbs never, they can kill. It's true.
Nikki, it can all kill.
It can all. So that's one day only on the 21st. And that's
right.
at every Arby's restaurant. So if you roll on up and you start seeing a lot of camo and a lot of hunter people, you're like, well, they're here for the sandwich.
It's real, Nikki.
It was very popular last year.
Hugely popular. So all Arby's locations. Again,
why don't you try one? That'd be a funny riot video.
October 21st.
Is that a weekend?
It's this Saturday.
Oh.
I got plans on Saturday.
Well, I see.
So, you know what, Nikki, why don't you do it? It would be even funnier. Well,
I'm not eating venison.
Then I guess we just shut it down, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
That was the end of that.
Unless, may I have a stand-in? Is there someone who wants to stand in to describe what it tastes like?
There will be millions of people waiting to do that. That'd be a great video to do with Chris. Chris is all about it.
He loves it.
He'd be in his element, wearing his bright orange hat with his camo stuff.
The worst of the riot. Proof that you're already living in that dark future dystopia. Radio U.
So I was at the Columbus Marathon yesterday, playing music, cheering, being a part of the festivities. And here was the thought I had. If you've never been to a marathon, you totally need to go. Now, you don't have to run one, though I've never run a marathon. I always did a half marathon. And I quit doing that, but that's a personal problem. I just got tired of running.
Running ended up not being so good for you.
It's not for me. Though I ran 7 half marathons before I finally was like, all right, we're done. But that being said, I really recommend it because, first off, it's great to run one if you've never done it. Great accomplishment. You'll learn a ton about yourself, including how whiny you can be and how hard it is to make yourself do things. But it's a huge accomplishment. Whether you do a half or a full, I totally recommend it. But here's the other thing. When you go down to a marathon like that, the thing that just amazes me is, okay, you've got all these people, different races, genders, it is just a cross-section of humanity. And not only is everyone getting along, but everyone is cheering and screaming and high-fiving, and you will have seen very few things in your life like it. And I'm not saying that the world doesn't have problems. I'm not saying that there aren't issues that abound. There obviously are. But you will get the tiniest little bit of your faith in humanity back with the time that you spend there. Because even though there are a lot of troublemakers in the world, there are a lot of people like you that don't care what color somebody's skin is, that doesn't care, about a lot of different things, and are really just cheering for other people to keep going. And when you get a chance to see that en masse, it'll blow your mind. Because what do you see when you turn on the news? Like, what do you see when you hit the internet?
Usually the exact opposite.
You see people just tearing at each other's throats. Their most important thing is their agenda. They don't care about individual, on and on and on and on and on. Totally different. It's like the anti-internet when you go and spend time there. It was amazing. And again, even if you don't have anybody in the race, go down to the finish line sometime and spend 20 minutes and
or cheer along the course.
Yeah, you won't believe it. Like, we cheered around on, mile marker 11, which is a tough spot because we are in part of an uphill climb for the half marathoners on their way to the finish line. But it was a great experience. And I'm not saying that we don't have problems. We do. But in the middle of problems, there's good stuff out there, too. Now, the other thought I had was that, marathons probably bring the people that aren't interested in tearing at each other.
Sure.
So maybe it's just that the mean people stay at home.
They're not just wanting to come out and cheer.
They're not out there. Sure. But, the other side of that is it so bad to get around a lot of people that want to cheer for other people? And if the mean people stay home, okay, fine. But it was
good time.
It was really awesome.
Yay.
I recommend it. I think you should get out there and experience it for yourself. Make a sign. People have their names on their bibs. Just stand out there and cheer and call people's names.
It was weird before we started doing a lot of marathons or races. If you go to a lot of concerts, it felt like marathon cheering was like really weird.
Sure.
At first, because, you're more of a let's go to a show and let's just listen to music. But if you go to any sort of race or athletic event, it's different, but you can really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's something where these are not, the front runners are, but most of these are just average people just like you that have gone out there to do something that is difficult for them. And as someone that has done both, I've been a runner and I've been cheering, you wouldn't believe the amount of encouragement that you can get from a stranger cheering for you on the side of the road. It's amazing. So I realize it's too late for this one.
Oh, but there's ones all the time.
There are other races coming. It would totally be worth finding one.
And what if you were at the corner of the race of life and you see someone just running through a bad day? Perhaps it's a life lesson to just cheer them on. You can totally do that.
You could cheer for people in the hallway at your school, in the hallway at your office. She's right.
It doesn't have to just be at a race.
She ain't lying.
You've got to hand it to Obadiah and Nikki. Anyone can eat junk food all day.
Where's my food?
But they've figured out a way to get paid for it. The Riot on Radio U.
You guys know I'm an idiot. That's an established fact that we have. I think we started with that a few years ago, and we've just run with it. And one of the ways I'm really stupid is that I just look longingly and lovingly at very specific forms of technology. TVs are one of those forms. I love TVs. I could flip this TV. In fact, I've flipped TVs, not because I'm mad, you understand.
But you're very responsible, I feel like, with technology, but you enjoy learning about new things that are coming out, and then when the moment comes for you to switch over to it, but you're very responsible with it.
I'm not completely crazy. I'm just an idiot. They're not the same thing.
You just enjoy it.
Yeah. So over the weekend, Engadget, they're a website that does tech reviews and such and news and whatever, they really caught my eye with something. They team up with another website called The Wirecutter, and they look at a lot of different TV related stuff. And they say that they have settled on the title of the article is The Best 4K TV on a Budget. Mm-hmm. But if you keep reading, they have selected what they say is their best budget 4K TV, but they say that it's not just the best budget 4K TV. They say it is the best 4K TV out there.
That's quite a title to bestow upon one.
They said they put it next to TVs that cost 2.5 times as much as it did, and they still did not look as good as this TV
Which
did.
one did they pick?
It is a TCL Roku TV.
Really?
I'm familiar with the brand. To me, they always just seem like some really cheap knockoff brand.
I didn't know they did a 4K one.
But they have been the brand that have been the quote-unquote Roku TVs. And again, I'm like, I don't care. I got a Roku box. What do I need a TCL Roku, whatever.
So I'm sorry, is the 55 LED Smart TV 4K Ultra HD only $400?
Well, Nikki, let's get the model number because that's where it'll be important.
Just to make sure. The S series?
Nope. This is the P607.
P607.
I found it at Best Buy for $600.
Still, that's a really good price.
Which, I mean, guys, let's be clear. $600 is a lot of money, but in this space, it is not as much money. So they say that they liked it better than the Samsungs. They liked it better than all these other things. It's got Dolby Vision, and it also supports HDR10, and it's got the built-in Roku. They just say that it's a clear winner in the TV space. And I'm just kind of amazed to see a $600 TV come out the winner versus $1,500, $1,800, $2,000 TVs. So that's it. I just wanted to let you know it's out there. So for the price of a little bit more than an Xbox One X, you could take home the best of TVs.
As 4K TV owners, I would say it depends on what you're coming from.
Yeah.
Will you be impressed or like blown over? It's very nice and it looks really good. But again, it depends on what you're coming from.
4K is not what they want you to think it is. It's just something that if it's built into your TV, it's nice. Mm-hmm. But when you compare 1080 and 4K,
you sometimes might not even be able to know.
Well, I'll tell you what. I was watching.
What you're watching.
Was I watching something on Netflix the other day, and I was watching for a while, and I was like, "Man, this looks really good." And I was like, "Oh, I think it's 4K."
Yeah, it's in 4K.
So I mean, it took me 5 minutes of watching it to go like, "Oh, it looks really good." It's in 4K. So that's kind of what it's like. 1080 is still pretty great, quite honestly. But I just thought for $600, that was worth talking about. If you were going to invest, because I said invest. That's the wrong word. You're going to purchase. This doesn't pay you back. There's no investment here. The price only goes down. But it might be one, if you're doing a Black Friday TV this year.
Maybe if you look for that line.
I'll bet that's one that you could keep your eyes on, because if it's selling for $600 now, Black Friday price is probably going to be a lot lower than that.
Imagine a world where the Riot never talks and it's glorious Radio U music for hours on end. Now, imagine the opposite of that. You're already there. It's the worst of the Riot on Radio U.
So, I don't know if you guys have been keeping score, and I'm not saying that we have, but I will remind you that there's only 69 days and 16 hours till Christmas.
I saw someone put a Christmas tree up in our neighborhood.
Really?
They have
like an actual legit Christmas tree?
And it's lit.
It wasn't like a Nightmare Before Christmas tree?
No, I don't think so.
Or a Silent Night, Deadly Night Christmas tree?
They did not seem to have a lot of Halloween decorations up, but I can't guarantee you that there's ornaments up on the tree, but it does have lights on the tree.
Any chance it was a Halloween tree? Because I saw somebody in my neighborhood.
White lights.
They've got a tree up in their window, but it's got orange lights on it.
No, this seemed Christmas.
Which to me was like, that's a Halloween
tree. And
tree.
I've seen a few people on Facebook who have Christmas trees up.
It's too soon, guys.
With the ornaments.
Now, Nikki and I shouldn't judge anyone.
We're not.
Because you know what? The war on Christmas is real, Nikki. It is real. And I want you to know the opening salvo in this year's war on Christmas, shots fired.
Meaning?
Well, I'll tell you right now, Iowa City, Iowa. The police were called out to Brown Street in Iowa City because there was a male standing outside singing Jingle Bells through a bullhorn. Jingle bells, jingle Jingle bells.
How relaxing.
Jingle all the way.
Now, was he doing it in a nice way or a trying to bother way, or was he intoxicated?
Okay, Nikki. You always got to make it about that, huh?
No, I put 3 options.
See, and that's what
There were several
okay,
options.
you know what? Did anybody else see what happened right there?
And I gave you the last one.
That was an example of cultural shaming, because here's a man that wants to celebrate Christmas, okay? And people that are anti-Christmas, like Nikki, she has a long history of being anti-Christmas.
I do not. I'm one of the most Christmassy people you know.
She immediately says, you want to celebrate Christmas, you must be drunk.
I feel like for someone to be singing in a bullhorn, he's a bit early on it. So normally, if you've been drinking enough, you forget what time it is and what day it is, and maybe he thought he was closer to it.
Nikki, what's the best way to spread Christmas cheer?
To sing loudly for all those to hear. But why is he spreading Christmas cheer? It's October.
Well, maybe he felt like the world needed some.
Maybe he was confused because he had been thirsty.
Well, you know what, Nikki? You're not the only person that thought that, because when
they ran a test, did they?
The police showed up, they gave him a warning for public intoxication and disorderly behavior, and they were like, "Bro, you need to go home.
Can't just sing through the bullhorn,
and you need to stop." Okay, so the officers left, and then 10 minutes later, we got a 10:15. There's Christmas music. And so
Santa's still singing.
Had to go back. He was still a problem. He was in his apartment,
his sleigh,
blasting Christmas music.
Oh man, this guy.
So
he's making it weird for all the casual people, who are just starting to throw a little Christmas here and there.
So he ended up. The police showed up, and apparently he was hostile to the officers and said, "I dare you to come inside.
Come at me."
Come at me, elf.
Okay, so yeah, he had been drinking too much.
I got Santa in here. I'm going to tell him. And so he ended up getting charged. A little disorderly conduct, a little something. So
you can all celebrate. You just have to watch how much
the war on Christmas, Nikki,
has started already.
It's real. The police are fighting Christmas.
No, that's not what I got from the story.
Well, you know what? We all carry away what we want to, don't we?
For different parts of different stories.
Sure.
That's the takeaway.
Recycling paper is like planting a tree. Recycling the riot is like burning down the rainforest.
We ain't gonna be in no fire, not today.
It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
Time for a follow-up. Does anybody remember that guy? Remember that one guy in the place with the stuff?
You might have to give us more information than that.
Okay, a little bit more than that. Okay, remember when a guy got arrested for having meth in his car, and he kept telling the arresting police officers, guys, that is Krispy Kreme donut glaze. And they're like, it's meth, bro. It's meth.
I don't remember that one at all.
You don't
Maybe I wasn't in that day.
Well, it's either that or, you know what, Nikki?
I don't want to believe it.
Listen, sometimes I eat a Krispy Kreme glazed donut.
You think
and if you eat one, they're all crumbly. It's all over your shirt.
Yeah, but it has a different feel to it, I would think.
Well, the police arrested this guy and gave him drug charges.
So maybe it is. They thought it was meth, you said?
They thought it was meth. And I remember reading that and just being like, what if I got pulled over?
Is that why so many people are on meth? I mean,
people like, it's meth. And you're just like, officer, here, just lick it. Go ahead, just like in the movies.
Yeah, but I bet you someone, if they were really doing meth, would say the same thing.
You think so?
Yeah.
No, meth people would be like pulling their radio out and pulling all the wires out. They're not talking in a coherent manner with the arresting officer. So he told them over and over again, guys,
it's Krispy Kreme stuff.
It's Krispy Kreme. You're wrong. Whatever. He was strip searched.
That's embarrassing.
He spent hours in jail and was finally released on a $2,500 bond. Now, after that, he sued the city.
I bet he did. But so I'm sorry, did they say for sure he did not have meth and it was Krispy Kreme? Was he right?
Oh, he's right.
He's right.
It was Krispy Kreme.
The entire time. Yeah.
This guy, no meth. He gets strip searched and thrown in jail.
Oh, he can sue for a lot. A lot of donuts.
$37,500 is how much he was.
I would have gone more.
I don't know. There might be statutes. I don't know any of that kind of stuff. But he just snagged $37,000 for wrongful arrest and a few other things.
We read a lot about some frivolous lawsuits, but for me, I feel like this is not a frivolous one. you lose something, for what he's gone through.
For what he's gone through.
Oh, yeah. Like something has changed.
It would be, I think it would be like one of the most bizarre things ever because you've never been arrested. I've never been arrested. All of a sudden, a cop is like, that's meth. And you're like, whoa, son.
Oh, it's donuts.
Hang on.
It's donuts.
Is this where's the cameras? This is a prank, right? I think it was a prank all the way down to the body cavity search where you're like, okay, the fun has stopped, guys.
Well, at first I would think,
put the gloves away.
I would be upset if I was just getting a ticket for something that I felt was wrong, let alone now you're spending time in jail.
Time in jail. You had to post a bond. Wow. So there you go. He said, I kept telling them that's glaze from a donut. They tried to say it was crack cocaine. Then they said it's crystal meth.
Weird.
The officer administered a series of roadside drug tests, 2 of which turned up positive for cocaine.
I know sometimes donuts are very addictive, but it's not like that addictive.
The lab tests returned showing that he wasn't on cocaine and that they were, in fact, donuts.
Aww,
so it was like
on
the spot, he was like, no, this guy's got cocaine. But like once they did the lab test, not the side of the road test.
They knew.
Yeah. So $38,000. What would you do with $38,000 today?
Well, I would still find a way to get more. I think I need more than that.
I would invest that in another lawsuit.
Again, that's a naked search.
Yeah.
And time in jail. I want more than that much money.
I don't know where I'm going on vacation, but I would be going somewhere.
You're getting something.
Leftovers from the most disgusting meal you've ever had. It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
Well, we are getting closer and closer and closer to something that's really important, Nikki. Super Mario Odyssey, a week from Friday.
New Mario.
Dude, a new Mario game. And this is like new 3D Mario. Like there was Super Mario 3D World or whatever that was on the Wii U, but this is like Mario Galaxy Mario kind of stuff.
Like new.
Like the new. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
I was looking at maybe I want to switch. I don't know. I go back and forth.
Well, it's hard to know.
I would with a Mario game, but not with any of the current lineup.
Well, you can get Mario Kart.
Yeah, I like that.
Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
And then
but I can't.
Mario Brothers, which is also available in the Switch's digital store.
I can't just live on Mario alone, even if I try.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you were... Well, I hate to say it this way because I don't want you to feel negative about it, but
sure.
The smart play would be to also get yourself The Legend of Zelda.
Sure.
That game
is incredible.
If I had to right now, you're like, what was the best game you played this year? It would be at the top.
You might even say more than just this year. You've spent so much time with that game. I'm surprised you wouldn't have said all time.
I don't know if I can say of all time. Like, it would be hard because you have to spend a lot of time with that. But I can tell you right now, easily the best game I've played in the last few years, The Legend of Zelda. I've never played anything that I just never really got tired of it.
Well, if you want to watch me and Obi play Mario Kart,
yes,
we have that up on our Radio U Riot YouTube and our Facebook page. We did a little Obadiah Plays with Mario Kart edition.
Yeah, that was fun. Now, Nikki, I'm sending you this. Someone on NeoGaf has come up with this 3D printable way to play...
That looks so comfortable.
To play Switch in your bed. This guy has 3D printed a Switch visor.
Yeah.
And it looks like, imagine like one of those really cheap kind of VR headsets that you put your phone in. It's just a really long face mask, and you lay the Switch on the top of it, and that way you can lay down
comfortably in
bed and just be staring straight up and play the Switch.
It's a great idea. It's very clever.
The only thing I wonder about it is...
Because if not, it hurts your arms.
The thing I have noticed is, like, if I lay... This is probably just me weirdness, but, like, if I lay on the couch, like I'm laying sideways and I'm watching TV, after a while of watching TV, I start to not feel very good. Like... I don't know if I'm getting dizzy or like what the problem is, but after a while it's like, okay, I have to sit up. I can't lay and watch TV like this. So I'm wondering if I'm laying flat,
completely
looking
flat,
straight up.
Could you play a game for that long?
Yeah, like what would that feel like?
Well, I'd tell you it'd feel better because you're in bed.
You'd like to figure it out?
I wouldn't mind trying.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying.
TV and dizzy on the side on the couch, that's one thing. It's just
laying flat.
straight laying flat in bed playing Mario. Could be another thing.
I'll tell you what, it looks so lazy, but it looks so
innovative,
good.
okay?
So good.
Yes, it does.
And
I can see my phone just doing that for your phone.
well, this actually looks like your dream device because as I recall,
Man, I always wanted something.
how many times have we talked about finding a way for you to be able to just watch your iPad without having to touch it?
Now I just use my phone, and so I'll lay on the side, like you mentioned, and I'll
Yeah.
just kind of watch that way. But I used to always watch, I would love to watch TV just laying down, and I would hold my iPad or my phone above me, and I still have a little scar on my nose, and I would constantly drop my tablet on my face. Because I would just like forget what I was doing or just be like, oh, and then it just would drop out of my hands.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I had to stop doing that after a while.
This-
but this problem solved.
This guy right here could sell these things. People would buy them. People in this room.
So they call it a switch visor.
Calls it a switch visor.
Play comfortably in bed.
I don't know how long term, but I at the very least could see myself doing this for a while.
At least during holidays when you got a break, that'd be so nice.
And Mario's coming out next week, so I'm going to spend some time with my Switch.
The Riot is now accepting applications for a staff pastry chef. Please drop your resumes and an example of your work at the studio door, and we'll get back to you. Wink, wink. The Riot on Radio U.
Now, earlier in the show, we just happened to mention that Arby's is making a new venison sandwich. One day only.
This is coming up on Saturday. And they had it last year, but it was at 17 locations. I didn't even think it was that many last year.
I didn't think it was either, but it was.
It was, I just remember Michigan had them and a few other states, and it was venison sandwich. And it went over so well for them that this Saturday, the 21st, they're doing all locations.
There are about 3,300 Arby's locations in the United States. They're all going to have venison this Saturday. Now, again, you don't want to end up in a Szechuan sauce kind of situation, so you might contact your local Arby's. You're
Just to make sure.
Probably already on a first-name basis with the Arby's manager, right? Just want to go in and say, like, hey, insert name here.
So the venison sandwich is like an Arby's bun. It looks like a big, thick piece of steak, and then like onion rings. And that's the sandwich.
So I put this on Radio U's Facebook page asking the question, what's the weirdest thing that you've eaten? Now, of course, you don't just have to visit us on Facebook. You could text us right now at 877-2-RADIO-U.
Let's get the list going.
You could also call us at 877-2-RADIO-U. You could tweet at us, whatever you want, but it's on our Facebook page. And here's some of what I found out so far this morning. Matt says he's had ostrich, alligator, and elk. And he said elk was by far the best. I'd take an elk burger over a beef burger any day.
Now, remember, for some of the Arby's locations in...
There are 3 states, and I don't remember which ones they are.
Elk states. Those states. Like
they're going to serve elk on this Saturday as well.
I can't remember which ones those are, too.
Yeah, I can't either.
So they'll have elk at those places.
Chris said that he's had goose jerky and alligator. Like, you don't love geese.
Well, people do hate them, but still, they're just a part of our lives. They're outside
I imagine
all the time.
us out in the parking lot eating the geese jerky and laughing at them.
Alligator, I feel like, can be pretty standard, especially if you're anywhere near, like, Florida. It's pretty common to get a hold of.
Aaron said properly fried alligator is amazing. What makes it properly fried, though?
Properly fried, like maybe just a little effort.
All right. Well, Chris then responds, says that he had the alligator was like popcorn chicken. It was at a big flea market in southern Florida. All right. Let's see.
You're rolling the dice on that, guys.
That's what I said.
Good luck.
Man, I stopped at a gas station in Florida one time, and they were like, "We've got boiled peanuts and gator," and I was like, "I'm just here for the gas." Like, I'll see you guys later. Melinda had antelope and kangaroo.
Aww.
The antelope was tough, but the kangaroo was delicious.
Dude, kangaroo in some parts of Australia, it's like normal.
Is it weird to me that I feel like kangaroo tastes good?
It's like their cow.
Why is that? Like, to me, when you say you ate kangaroo, it's like, I'll bet that's delicious.
They say it's really good.
All right. David's had squirrel. I knew people that have shot and eaten squirrel.
It does seem more like you found it on the road.
You think? No,
Squirrel
people,
to me falls under like.
you shoot them with a 22.
Do you?
And you take them home and eat them. I don't want to eat squirrel.
I just don't see how much can be on that little thing.
Aren't they just rats?
Unless it's a fat squirrel. The one
Well,
squirrels?
We've seen some good-looking squirrels.
Pretty beefy ones.
Squirrels that maybe were asking for it. They've been fattening themselves up for us.
Well, it hasn't been as cold during the winter, so they keep eating, but they're not sleeping it off.
All right, and Ray says ostrich.
Have you eaten anything weird?
Oh, gosh, somebody just texted in and said groundhog stew.
No, it can't be right.
You don't think that's real?
That's a holiday. What are you doing?
I don't think I have had anything weird.
Not like that.
I'm thinking.
I've had some sushi stuff and calamari.
Okay, that's weird.
But that's
you know
about
what?
it.
I've had squid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's horrible.
But when you deep fry most things.
No, Nikki, I've had deep fried squid, and you and I belong to the same school of thought. Like, if you deep fry it, how bad can it be? And the answer is very bad.
If you don't like it.
Julia says her grandma eats rattlesnake.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't want that either. I don't want any snake in me.
I just go to the grocery store, so that's why I'm not having this stuff.
Oh.
They don't have it there.
I got one. I've had chitlins.
What's chitlins?
Pig intestine. I did that.
Yeah, that's a South thing, isn't it?
Well, it is. I did that as part of a bet here at Radio U. There was something. Me and a guy named Curtis. He had to. I don't understand how he said he was going to eat Spam because he'd never had Spam, and I had to eat chitlins. And his mom made.
I don't know if the two's the same.
That's what I'm saying.
I feel like the chitlins might be worse, but I haven't had Spam either. That seems gross too.
Spam, it's just canned.
It's the jelly stuff that I've seen around it.
Here's my thing: is like Spam is like eating a hot dog. I'm not saying it's good.
It's just a different presentation.
It's just some weird thing.
Let's take all of the most mind-numbing things the Riot has ever said and play them again.
It's a stupid idea, but I love it.
It's the Riot on Radio U.
Arby's is going to be offering venison sandwiches this Saturday only, but they're everywhere.
Every location except for a couple states where it's going to be elk, and that is on Saturday.
And so we're talking about
and it's so popular.
Weird things that you've eaten. And some of you are like, man, venison ain't even weird, which right away, yes, it is.
I feel like we're just automatically all going towards the meat items, though. It's all like, which is the weird animal that you've eaten?
Oh, I'll tell you what, I got a stack of responses. But first, let's talk to Tim. How are you, Tim?
Good morning.
I'm doing all right. How about you guys?
Good. Now, I'm worried because I thought I heard Obi say that it seems like you've just eaten everything then. Or what is
I almost have.
What is the specific item that you feel is the worst?
The weirdest one was when I was in Louisiana, I had turtle gumbo from a turtle shell.
Oh, you ate it out of the shell? Oh,
Yeah.
What's wrong?
oh, dude, that feels like you're piling on.
But in the other side of it, it's like that's being responsible because you're using the whole buffalo.
Animal?
Yes, the whole turtle.
That's the southern thing, is to use everything, and they decided to use the shell as a bowl.
Oh, was it weird to eat out of a turtle shell?
It tasted like a mixture of chicken and fish-ish kind of thing. It was chewy, but very delicious.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
Well,
chicken and fish.
We were
I hate
kind of
fish.
okay until the shell part came in, too. That's
Right.
just cruel.
Well, but wait a second, Tim. What was it? You said a bunch of other stuff off air, too, though. Like, what else have you had?
I've had gator, snake. I've had deer. My wife had squirrel brains.
Ooh.
I've had
Okay.
shark.
Let's back off a second. Talk to me about gator. What did that
And
taste
where
like?
are you going? What's
Yeah,
this eating thing that you guys got going on? They
I
must
used to live in
vacation.
the South, and they eat everything. They don't care.
True.
Okay, so talk to me about gator. What do you think?
Gator is delicious. If you get it right and you cook it right, it is more tender than chicken, and it'll hold the flavor better.
I've heard that before.
All right.
Also a lovely wallet.
I'm warming up to it. I'm warming up to
Do
it.
you have a wallet now? Did you eat the whole gator? Did you
I don't. I know. I think my grandfather has the wallet. I don't know.
All right. Now, Tim, what about shark? What did shark taste like?
Shark is my favorite fish. I love the taste of shark. If I had my choice of like cod or shark, I'd go with shark.
Now, wait, because when I was younger, I used to be crushed because there's like dolphin fish and then there's dolphin. Are you saying shark fish or shark?
Shark.
No! I can't handle that
Nikki,
one.
the sharks are eating everything. They deserve a little munchy
No, they're
munch.
not. No, they're not. I hate that. All right, we'll forgive you.
What's wrong with eating a shark?
You can't eat shark.
Yes, you can.
No, you're not supposed to.
Says who?
The line. The line is there.
You know what, Tim? You're the top of the food chain, baby. Pat yourself on the back.
Exactly.
I'm
All
turning
right.
the fan on because you're making me mad. Don't want to hear
Tim,
this anymore.
Thanks for calling.
Bye. You're not supposed to. They topple everything. You're supposed to keep them there.
Well, it doesn't mean you have to eat shark all the time. It's a
Some
delicacy.
people do, and if they're all one after another.
Well, what if you cut their fin off and just throw them back?
I knew you were going to say that. You did that on purpose. I knew you were going to say that. I'm going to throw at you. That's worse. You're just such a documentaries about that. You're not supposed to do that.
Oh, that might be trolling.
For medicinal reasons, don't make me mad.
I don't feel good.
I know you should not.
The Riot.
They hate me. They hate you. They hate us.
Why else would they make us listen to the worst of the Riot? Radio U.
This Saturday only, Arby's across the U.S. bringing back the venison sandwich. That's deer, if you don't know.
In case you're like, what?
And so our question has been, what is the weirdest thing that you've eaten? Now, we've talked
There's about 10 or 12 items that seem to get popping back and up.
Want to say what's up to Anthony, hitting us up on Twitter at Radio U. He says, definitely lengua tacos.
I'm sorry, what?
Lengua tacos.
Oh.
That's a cow tongue. A cow tongue taco?
Oh, man.
A cow tongue taco?
I know you're supposed to think like, well, the spices will cover it up, but that must be disgusting.
I just want you to know, I'm
sometimes
out.
you see cow tongue like in the butcher section, and like, man, that's tough. I don't understand.
When I worked at the farm market, we sold pickled cow tongue. And what was gross about it was I didn't actually work that part of the place, but like if somebody wanted it, you would have to put on a glove and pull it out. And it was just a tongue.
you have to-
It was just a tongue. And
just
then
a
they would
tongue.
slice it on the meat slicer.
Oh,
So it was just like you literally had some cow's tongue and you're just like,
like
well,
slicing it up.
is that thin enough for you?
That's so gross. So gross.
All right, let's check in text messages. You can text yours as well, 877-2-RADIO-U. Tammy says, she said crocodile, impala.
We had to look a couple of these up.
What even is that?
It's like a antelope sort of thing.
All right, well, she did that while she was in Kenya. She also tried a scrambled ostrich egg, which, I mean, I realize we scramble like chicken eggs.
Those are the
but
big ones.
I don't want that. Let's see. Shrew says, she said octopus, which she really liked, which squid she didn't like. Oh, really? To me, it's all...
That's all the same.
all the same kind of category right there. Let's see. Fish eggs. Isn't that what caviar is? Mm-hmm. All right, here's somebody, I don't have their name, but they said that while they were in Cambodia, they saw dogs being cooked, but did not eat them. Said after the first big rainfall of the year, this little ant-flying creatures come out of the ground and swirl around the lights. We put a bucket underneath to catch them and fry them the next morning. They taste like potato chips.
You know what also tastes like potato chips?
Potatoes.
Oh, that's a different one.
Just stick with that.
I don't know if I can eat that.
Ronnie says he's had iguana, duck, crickets, rattlesnake, moose, elk, deer, antelope, and black bear.
Oh, no. No, you can't have that. No, you're not.
His old boss
Not on this show.
ate a leopard.
No, what are you guys doing?
All
Hunting.
right. Julian says, hey guys, I've had python, turtle, frog, calamari, and crickets.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, Alyssa says warthog. Warthog?
Someone said when they were in was it China for a banquet, they had jellyfish? Did you see that one?
I didn't see that.
And said it was crispy. It was like a gummy, but then crispy. Like it would snap.
That sounds awful.
A lot of this list does.
Well, like some of it I can see where you're just like, you know, there's certain animals where it's like, that's probably like a cow.
If you close your eyes, you don't really know. It's fine.
It's cowish. It's fine. All right, Kyle hit us up on Facebook. He said kangaroo, boar, alligator, black pudding, haggis. Wait, Kyle's the guy that listens to us and like lives in Scotland or something, right?
So haggis and the black pudding is normal?
He said that his wife's dad ate rotten shark in Iceland, which is I
forget the word for it, but it's like it's preserved or whatever in the ground.
Fermented.
Yeah,
isn't it?
More than even that.
Well, because like I know they eat fermented fish in some of the Nordic countries there. I mean, they're all sick. And No, okay, is that it? Like, it keeps rolling in. So, look, if you got something weird you ate, you can hit us up. Ox tongue in China? That's what, let's see, that was from Rachel. Cow tongue, she had menudo, which is cow stomach soup, popular.
So much. Can we talk about Twinkies or Oreos?
Ox
please?
tongue in China?
Please?
Presented like a big tongue sliced up. You could clearly tell it was tongue. All right.
So bad.
I feel good about it. Like, I think we could wrap here if we needed to.
Okay, we talked about enough. It's like,
what are you talking about?
After all that, venison and Arby's really doesn't sound too bad. Like, it's not too weird.
Oh,
or the elk.
Yeah, like venison seems way normal, especially if you look at the sandwich. It looks like a burger. You're going to feel a lot better about that than this ox tongue that you can tell is a tongue.
The part that keeps me up at night, we paid them for this. It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
Nikki, we're going to talk food. We're going to switch topics, but I got one last thing that we got to throw in.
Sure, what is it?
David just tweeted at us, and he said when he was in Iceland, he ate sheep's face.
Yeah, I've seen that on the video before. Well, like it's skull and stuff. You just I don't know why.
Okay,
I'm not okay with it.
Okay, but you're way calmer about this.
Because I've seen a video of someone eating it.
Somebody ate shark and you were like outraged. Well, someone has cut off a sheep's face. A little sheep. Just a little guy who's living and trying to do his thing, and somebody's like, you got an awful purty mouth, and they ate it.
And they ate it.
And you're like, well, you know, it happens. Sometimes you trip and fall and eat a sheep's face.
No. But to me, people eat sheep, so I don't know why.
Okay, but people eat shark.
But no, that to me is like way too much because it just doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. But that I've seen a video on, so I'm not as shocked by it.
I don't understand it.
I'm not eating it.
Well, I didn't say I wanted to eat shark either, but I'll tell you what right now. If you said to me, like, here is a sheep's face and here is shark.
I thought you would eat sheep face.
I'm eating the shark.
Really?
Face, Nikki.
Depends.
I'm not eating something's face.
Are you talking like the cheek?
Yeah.
Or are you talking like
don't you think?
It's eyeball or it's brain?
It's face.
Well, I would see that as its cheek.
All right, Nikki. Yes, so you'd eat a sheep cheek? So you're telling me you're out for your Sunday drive, you like, pass all these sheep, and you're like,
your cheeks look good.
What their cheek tastes like?
No, but if I was forced and I had to choose between its eyeball, its brain, or its cheek, I would choose the cheek.
Eyeball, its brain, its cheek. Okay. All right, I'll give you that. Okay,
that's what my feeling is.
We're locked up in some gothic Scottish castle, and they're like,
a sheep walks in, and that's all we got, and you got to choose. That's what I would be okay with.
I mean, if it's the end of the world and we're starving, all right, I'm eating everything. Fine. What have you got? You're not hungry enough yet. Like, if you were out of options, you're like, yeah, I'll eat whatever you have.
Oh, I don't know.
But. Including butt.
The butt. What do they call it? The rump?
The rump. Rump roast. But the face. Like the world, you're not starving right now.
You're saying face, and that is less threatening than if you said it's brains. Like if you said it's head. It's little eyeballs.
I don't want to eat anything above the neck. I'm just done. I'm done.
About it anymore. Can't we talk about other food?
This is all David's fault. He's the one that said he's been eating sheep face, and I'm like, what?
I know when you travel, you want to experience the culture, and you want to eat like the locals do, but I just think that it would be hard in some areas. I bring in like a granola bar because I brought a box.
Does Amazon 2-day it to Iceland? Do they do 2-day here in Iceland? I'm a Prime member. What about Prime Now?
It's like, this is all I can eat.
Can they get it to me in 4 hours?
Because I need it.
All right. Well, I got a Burger King story, which
might as well be sheep face.
Oh, what's up to David? He said the most exotic thing he's eaten is Taco Bell meat. And hey,
that's mystery stuff. That's our fast food, and we're fine with that. It could very well have sheep in it. You never know, gator.
It's got everything in it. They're just like
all mixed together.
Whatever's left over, the seasoning will cover it.
With virtual reality, the possibilities are endless. It gives us the ability to live out any of our wildest dreams. So maybe we can use it to pretend the riot doesn't exist. The Riot on Radio U.
I got to tell you this. On Facebook, I've got a lot of friends, people that just listen to the show and like whatever. I mean, yes, not the most friends, but just a bunch.
Yeah.
Enough to where, I've just got random friends that you're like, yeah, whatever. And then you find out they're a scam. But anyway, I have sometimes I get invited to stuff where it's like, you don't want me to actually come to that. You just invited all of your friends.
Which is normally very common.
Right. You just invited everybody and you're like, yeah, whatever. But I've been starting to think what we should do is that when we get an invite to something, we should pick a random something that we get invited to
and
just show up.
Wouldn't that be weird, though? I mean, what if...
That's the point.
I don't know if they're actually expecting, like, you to come.
But they invited me.
Yeah, but it was just easier to choose everybody.
Well, that was a choice that they'll soon regret.
Because they don't want you there.
I got an invite here to a LuLaRoe party. Which, as I understand
leggings?
it is leggings.
Is it clothes or leggings?
I think it's leggings, right?
So you could. I mean, you could. Is there guy leggings, or it shouldn't be categorized?
I was going to say,
is it people leggings?
Why are you trying to use my gender to keep me out?
Is there people leggings that you would want to wear?
Human leggings?
No. Why even that? I mean,
because sharks can't wear leggings.
No, because you cut their fins off.
See. So it's a whole other thing.
So you would maybe want to go to that, or like there's makeup ones, or
no, I don't want to go. I just want to cause all that awkwardness of me showing up. Like, hey, this is great. Hi. Oh, snacks.
I got your invite.
Yeah, I got that invite on Facebook.
Do you think it might cause enough drama if you just said yes on Facebook, but you didn't actually go?
I want to follow through. I want Eric to come with a camera.
Don't be that way. That's trolling people.
It's not trolling.
Why are you trolling them?
Okay.
It's trolling if you're accepting the invite they sent you. That's trolling.
Somebody invites you
that's
show
trolling.
up. That's trolling.
But they didn't mean to invite you. They just want you to make an online order.
They did invite me, and they obviously want me to come. Why else would they have invited me? They're hoping that I make it to their LuLaRoe party.
Just because they want to sell leggings.
Right.
Okay,
So,
just go then.
All
Go.
right. Well, I thought maybe you could come with me. It would be, we go together. It's like, hey, everybody. Great. Now, do you have the ones with like the flowers on them? Like,
I've seen some. They're quite flashy. They're more than I would probably wear.
Look, do you just pass the catalog? Do you need a model? Because like I'm in.
He's totally going to do that.
I would be happy to show it off.
I understand why the person did that for the invite.
Mm-hmm.
So I would maybe be a little bit more compassionate with him.
What? Oh,
kindness.
Are they hurting?
Well,
I need to feel for them. I feel so bad for you.
He wasn't talking to you.
All right, that's why I came to this party. I'm compassionate.
I just want to make sure you meet your quota that you need for leggings.
Don't get me started on multi-level marketing. It is such a scam.
It's a pyramid.
You know what? It would be so much easier if you wanted something. Don't throw a party. Just buy it and leave us all alone.
No, but for some, it's fine. Melinda said that they have men's shirts, so you can try that.
Men's shirts, are they available in sizes above large?
Maybe. They're just in tight form, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Nikki, am I supposed to be ashamed of my body? Am I?
You're not.
Okay.
You're not.
Then,
so if you pick up a pair of some really
more form-fitting,
flashy leggings.
They say that a lot of times if you're fat, you want to go baggy, but you should really not go baggy because while it's comfortable, it makes you seem even bigger.
They say you're not supposed to wear a belt, but really that makes a waist, so you should.
So you should. Right?
It's just always, I love hearing your ideas. I do. You have some great ones.
You're hearing it for the first time, and it sounds terrible.
It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
Okay, yesterday I worked up a huge appetite at the Columbus Marathon. Huge appetite. And I was like, it's time for me to, satisfy this appetite.
Sure.
So I did. And I stopped at a Burger King. Now,
which I don't think you normally like Burger King.
I don't. You know what? It was one of those things where there wasn't a lot of options. And I was just like, you know what? Whatever. Like, fine. Now, there's a Burger King on my way back from the marathon, between where I live and the marathon. And as I said, not a lot of options. And so I have not eaten there several times where, like, I'm not good experiences, not whatever. But I thought, you know what? Whatever.
Just give it a whirl.
I pull in. There's one car in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I assume the person working there. There's nobody in the drive-thru line, whatever. Pull up to the drive-thru, order my food, pull up to the window, pay the lady, and she's like, yeah, that's great. Just go ahead and pull forward and we'll bring it to you. And I'm just like, what?
It's like, wait, which is common if there's a long line behind you.
Sure.
Because then that way it doesn't pile up if someone gets their order before yours.
I actually looked behind me to see.
And no one was there?
There's nobody here. No. Why didn't pull ahead? So I did. I pulled ahead. And then I'm just sitting there. Like, I'm not mad. You're like, oh, here it comes. I'm not. Like, I wasn't mad. I was just kind of like, I was puzzled.
Sure.
Like, okay, I could have sat back there, but I guess now I'll sit back here. Maybe she doesn't want me to idle and have all the fumes going up in the window. Nope, she closed the window. Okay, all right, okay. So finally, she brings out my food and I drive off.
She brings it out?
Yeah, and I did not wait any inordinate amount of time there. It was, I don't know, 2 minutes?
Well, she brings it out is the key to this. That's the clue.
What's the clue?
It seems like others haven't shown up for their shift yet, and she's the only one there and didn't want her to feel pressured by you waiting at the window for the food while she goes and does everything. Because normally if you move up, it's not the person at the window who goes and brings you the food because they're still taking other orders.
That's really true. Now, I asked, and a lot of people seem to think that apparently this is common. There's an average time spent at the window.
And it keeps it.
Workers are trying really hard to keep that number down. So in order to keep the number down, they make you pull forward. And even though you're waiting.
Oh, so the shift gets better numbers.
Exactly.
That makes sense too.
So it looks like they're doing a really great job, but in reality, they're doing the same mediocre job they've been doing the whole time.
I might give you that for like certain McDonald's, like if they're really tracking that. But I guess I don't know if I've ever seen a counter clock at Burger King.
I'll bet it exists. I mean, this is one of the most poorly managed Burger Kings on earth, which, by the way, I think might be all Burger Kings. But this was one where I went in and stood there. This was one time during the fundraiser. I was like, all right, I'm out of options. I'll just hit this Burger King. Walked into the Burger King, stood there for 5 minutes. Employees are working the window, the kitchen. No one even looks at me. No one talks.
At the counter?
Okay. One person looked at me. They looked over at me and saw me come in and went right back to what they were doing. And after 5 minutes, I was like, well, I guess I'm not eating then. I'll just go. So
I'm sorry to hear about all the trouble. And it's probably not just you. Sometimes you worry, like, do you not want me to be here?
I just thought, my thought was like, they want to do something to my food, but they're afraid I'll see it.
Yeah, she's trying to make it, but because it seems like no one else showed up. She doesn't want to feel pressured with you watching her.
So you're saying that this lady who was working the window was also cooking in the back and running the food out?
taking the food out to you. Yes, probably so.
I'll tell you what, if that's true, I'd have tipped her.
But that goes back to mismanagement, and being poorly set up.
Yep. Well, Burger King. I like Burger King. I know they're just spraying the lines on. They're not really grilling it, but I still like it.
Thanks for listening to the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Oh no! I missed it! Do it again!
You can hear us live every day on the Radio U network through the Radio U app or at riot.radiou.com.
It looks so lazy, but it looks so
innovative.
good.